Welcome to From Doubt to Drive, Entrepreneurs Only. Join us on an inspired journey through the ups and downs of successful entrepreneurs. Our hosts, Mario C. Bauer and Florian Schneider, will explore how conquering doubt is essential for entrepreneurs to truly unleash drive. By being a part of our community, you too can learn how to propel from doubt to drive. So tune in, buckle up, and enjoy.
Welcome and welcome back. Hello, Florian.
Hi, Mario.
So, Florian, before we moderate and go to the next guest, I have to ask you, favorite ice cream taste? What is it?
I like yogurt and cherry.
Yogurt and cherry, that's a unique combination. And are you a cone guy or paper cup guy?
Hard to say. Actually, I'm more the cone type because then I don't have the cup to care about. But I can also, if I want to have a lot of ice cream, then I go with a cup. And I have to say, my son and I, we love ice cream. So basically, if we can, we have at least once a day a fresh ice cream.
So then we need to get your son into the room because today, I already feel it. Today we will have a great interview. So first of all, to everybody who listens, go to the YouTube version because very rarely we have such great looking guys on the podcast. We have today a dear friend, Federico Grom, and he's not just a friend and a fun guy. He's a very successful entrepreneur. He built the ice cream brand which carries his name, GROM. He started 2003 with his close friend Guido, and they were often called the poster boys of Italian ice cream. They grow the brand to 67 outlets all around the world. I still remember the great outlet in New York. We talk about that later. And they sold it 2015 to Unilever. And they always say online for an undisclosed amount, which normally means for a shitload of money. So nowadays, Federico runs a winery, Mura Mura, and he also is back into ice cream with the famous Formula One driver, Charles Leclerc. So welcome, Fede.
Thank you very much, Mario. Such an introduction. Wow.
Well deserved. You know, this podcast will be hopefully fun, but the main idea of the podcast is to show entrepreneurs and leaders out there that the journey they are on, the bumpy road, is completely normal, because we talk with successful entrepreneurs and normally everybody looks at you and say, this guy built such a great brand and he sold it for Unilever. But then when you dig one level deeper, we're going to find hopefully a lot of struggles and roadblocks. And these are the stories we want to share. So I want to start at the beginning, Fede, because when we read your biography, it says that you had a good job at the multinational company, finance guy, CFO guy, and your friend approached you and you said, let's do ice cream. And you both had no idea about ice cream. And I want to talk about this moment of starting. And there's a word which is called Schwellenangst. That's the fear of threshold and borders. When you start something and you go in uncharted territory, and you don't know what is behind that door. And I want to discuss that moment of that young entrepreneur and how it felt to start that crazy journey. So let's travel back, Fede. Share the early days, 2003, 20 years back.
Or more.
21, no?
22 years back. So thank you for naming me entrepreneur, leader. Not a leader. My wife is the real leader. So I'm trying to act as an entrepreneur, but the leader is the wife behind me. And she was already there in 2002. As you said, Guido came out with this crazy idea, considering that we were in Italy. No, there was a parlor ice cream shop in any corner. But the idea was simple, at the same time crazy. Reading an article in a newspaper, Italian newspaper, the president of Slow Food Organization, a real guru in the food world, said that it doesn't exist anymore. A gelato, not ice cream, a gelato is technically different, but it's funnier to say from an Italian gelato. Doesn't exist anymore. People making ice cream starting from the raw ingredients. Mm-hmm. It's all based on product coming from the industry. So the idea of Guido was simple. Let's try to make the best gelato of the world, starting from the best ingredients of the world, managing agriculture. There were few problems that came out from my business plan. The first problem and the first pillar of the company was we didn't know anything about ice cream. We didn't know anything about ingredients. We didn't know anything about recipes. Second pillar was we didn't know anything about retail, so no clue how to open a store. But the most important pillar was that we didn't have money at all. We put together 65,000 euros, so 32,500 euros each, and we started the company with lots of passion, lots of energy. We were below 30, and a very simple mission. And that was crucial, really. Fixing the mission from the day zero was really too important for us. Making the best gelato of the world. So it was not turnover, it was not profit, it was not number of point of sales. It was really a mission that was higher. We didn't know at that time. So we didn't know anything about marketing. We didn't know anything about how to create a brand. But the mission for us was simple. Impossible to reach. We didn't reach even the last day of GROM, but it was
your North Star.
It was a guiding direction. Every morning, every afternoon, every evening, working Saturday and Sunday. We opened the first store after 9 months in Torino. Why in Torino? Just because it was our own city, and the idea was, okay, let's risk, but not too much. So we kept our original job. I was in finance, and Guido was a winemaker, not by chance. And we put together different attitudes. Selecting our roles and responsibility again since the day one. And this was another crucial factor of the little success we had, having clear responsibilities between us and not mixing the qualities and experiences that we had. So total trust, hard work, but different roles. Guido was in charge of the product. I was in charge of the stores. Long story short, and everything behind this: the agriculture behind the product, people and finance behind the stores.
You mentioned agriculture. Just on a side track, Fede, you were even more crazy because you not just opened an ice cream brand without experience. You figured out over the journey that you suffered to get the right ingredients, and you started, as you just said in a side sentence, agriculture. You had your own farm where you grow part of the fruit. So how that came, because when you say you started this in a category where you anyhow had no idea, and then you made it even more complex and did the farm, was that retrospective not too much, or was it even part of the success to do that?
The driver was always the quality. So Guido was jumping around all over the world for buying the best fruit. All over the world, because you need to buy cocoa in Central and South America, vanilla in Madagascar, and the large majority of fruit in Italy, and not only. We realized by chance that the best fruit, the best quality fruit, is based on image. So you pay a lot, a nice peach, and not a good peach. You pay the size, you pay the color, you don't pay the flavor. That is crazy. I mean, we should, maybe we recognize a Mercedes from Audi, everybody of us, but we don't recognize a peach KWA from a peach Maria Marta, that are completely different. And on the first, with the cars, we just put our ass on it. On the second, we eat it and we put in our body. So it's something that we should consider. So starting with the idea that we want to make the best sorbet of the world, we bought the land where you can make the best fruit of the world. And the land is the land dedicated to vineyards, usually, not by chance, just because if you have a grape and you transform the product, you have the most expensive agriculture product in the world. All the other products are very cheap, unfortunately, everywhere apart from Japan. So we bought the first 8 hectares of vineyards in order to make the fruit the best possible in flavor, not taking care of the shape and not taking care of the size. And 8 hectares in Piedmont, one piece was expensive, but everybody, all the farmers, they thought, okay, these 2 ice cream guys coming from the city, they are crazy. They are paying a crazy amount of money for buying vineyards for then throwing off. But after a while, they understood. And in fact, we created our own orchard in 2007 for making experiments on each single variety of peach, apricot, pears, all the kind of fruits, 100 different varieties, for selecting the best variety for making gelato. That is not the best variety for eating. The major difference is sugar. In ice cream, you add sugar. So in the fruit, you need acidity and flavor, but the sugar is not so important. In the same year, it was really a fantastic, crazy year, 2007, we opened the first store abroad and was in New York City. So in the same year, we were dealing with farmers on one side, and we were opening in New York on the other side with one full page of the New York Times. We were interviewed several times at the Today Show on the NBC. I mean, we became celebrities in New York, and all the farmers in Piedmont, they were thinking we were crazy. It was a
schizophrenic situation.
Bring us a little bit back to the situation. You are starting an ice cream venture, basically. There are big competitors all around the world. Ice cream, gelato is a commodity, but still you go into that, you go abroad, you start scaling your business. What roadblocks did you hit? What struggles did you face? Did you had any doubts? Because you, on the one side, as you said, you are treated as a celebrity, and in your home country, they just shaking their heads. That must give you some struggle and doubts where you say, okay, this is just paradox, this situation. How did you deal with that?
You touch a good point. Ice cream was perceived as a common product everywhere in the world in 2002. And the quality was perceived as slightly higher in Italy, and just because of the market that is different from the rest of the world. But it was average, unfortunately, for everybody. But nobody understood it. And by chance, we came out with this idea of changing the quality. The doubt was there, of course. When we were talking with the expert of the market, I remember still the first fair of ice cream we visited in 2002. We went to the biggest supplier of counters for ice cream shop. And we asked to have the old fashion counter with hell covered and not with the mountain of gelato that you can see. And the guy told us, okay, your project is clear. You want to make quality. You want to make a small portion, expensive, best ingredients of the world. You will be in bankruptcy in 6 months. So unfortunately,
that's a great advice.
We will not make you an offer because you will not be able to pay us. This was the first.
What did you do then?
It was the first meeting in my life with an expert of ice cream.
But that's really, I need to go in there, Florian, because that's incredible. You guys have no clue. Then you go to a show where there's people who have a clue. These people tell you, nice idea, but it will fail. We won't even engage with you because you will be bankrupt before you can start paying us. Was there never, like, back to these Schwellenangst, were there never doubts of what Florian says to say, like, maybe we're on the wrong track? Because one thing is to say we're going to make the best gelato. I get that. It's a strong vision. But like, if everybody keeps on telling you, and that's this typical Schwellenangst thing where people sit next to you and say, you shouldn't do that, that you will fail. What gave you this drive or confidence to say, no, we're going to do that? What was it?
There was a big discussion between Guido and me. The doubt was big. The final answer was, if nobody's doing it, we will be the first. So we will innovate somehow.
Disrupt.
The second answer was, and this is the reality, we didn't have anything to lose. Coming from, I cannot say poor families, but normal average families. My father and mother were 2 employees. I live well, but really an average family, without savings, without house properties, nothing to lose. It's easy to bet without when you don't have anything to lose.
Yeah, but Fede, you had the big thing to lose because you put your name on that project. You had face value to use. You had your pride. I mean, you're a proud Italian guy. You put your name on the cup and on the name above the door. You had to lose. I mean, you had to lose the face value, your image.
First, I didn't know. I didn't care. I was so young that I didn't care. Secondly, I'm coming from the 80s and from finance. So my idea was Grom investment banking, not il gelato. Ice cream once upon a time. No. So when Guido, because it was not me, but Guido proposed this name, my surname, for the first store, I said, no, I don't want. But Guido explained me, it started from, 20 years before, and he said, there is a guy from Piedmont that changed the world of wine with the surname with 4 letters starting with G. Is Gaia. We have the same solution in-house. We have Grom. It sounds great in all the different languages. It's short, it's memorable. My surname is Martinetti, but overall, if you want to make a product with quality, you should put a face behind the quality. That will mean trust for the customers. I said, okay, let's do it. We didn't have time, so the decision were taken in few seconds. So I registered the brand, and the final result is that nowadays, if we want to book a table in an important restaurant and Guido call and say, okay, my Guido Martinetti, I want to have a table for tonight. I'm sorry, Mr. Martinetti, the table is to the restaurant. And so Guido called me and say, please, can you make a call? Okay, I'm Federico Grom. I want to make a table for tonight. Oh, Mr. Grom, of course, you're super welcome. So this is the negative side for Guido.
It could have ended the other way around. If you would have failed, then he would get the table and not you. But Fede, back to this question from Florian. You shared this early roadblock, and that's really really brave that you overcome that. In scaling up, so maybe in the middle of the scaling up, when you already become visible and sizable, is there any major struggle, a more grown-up struggle you remember in scaling up GROM?
If you are an entrepreneur, you have failure, you have mistake, you have obstacles practically every day. Probably the most emotional moment, negative, that I lived was 2011. Was March the 11th, 2011. And that day I woke up very early, like every day. It was like 5:30. On the news there was the big disaster in Japan of the tsunami. And I started to try to call Japan, Tokyo, where we had a few stores, and nobody answered. And it was a sizable investment for us at that time. We were already international in US and in other countries, France, Dubai, but Japan was a big bet. The same year, the bet was opening other stores in Tokyo and in Osaka, and we were already investing in that direction. That morning, I thought, okay, now it will be a big problem for us financially. I'm not proud of saying this, because the real problem was the population, the Japanese population, all the death and so on. But I was thinking to myself, So I'm not proud, but this is the reality. After an hour, the same television said, okay, the wave starts from Japan and is arriving in California. They are evacuating Malibu. In Malibu, the same year, in January, I opened the first store in California. So the first GROM California store was in Malibu. So I said, okay, it's a disaster. Our store will be destroyed. Japan adventure is a disaster. So I was really, really, really scared. The following days, then finally, after many hours, I spoke with our partner in Japan, and he said, okay, the guys are safe, the stores are safe, it's a disaster. Up to the north, where we know there was the nuclear plant. And we decided after a few months to give our answer to the help that we received from all the Japanese employees. And with me, we decided to take a plane, arriving in Tokyo with a movable counter of ice cream. And we went to nearby Fukushima, driving 11 hours. And we arrived there. And we really had an answer, serving our gelato in front of the Japanese people. All the village was destroyed. It was a disaster. They were leading up to a meal, a lot of death. And we were serving ice cream. And after a long line, even there was a little kid, young, 5-ish, with black hair, straight. And he was crying crazy. I went to this guy and Guido said, okay, let's try to give him a cup of gelato. Crying. We put in his mouth the first spoon of gelato and the face changed completely. And it was like disaster. So it was really disgusting for the ice cream. But then Guido insisted. So determination is part of the job of an entrepreneur. And with the second spoon of gelato, this guy started to smile. And the answer, the big lesson that this young child in Japan explained us is that the answer is a smile in the face of a customer. And with a little spoon of gelato, you can make people happy. And so it was a very difficult year. The same winter was super rainy. So imagine how can your business in ice cream be affected by the weather? So it was a super difficult moment, year, financially, cash flow, very difficult. But that kid explained us that the final answer is the smile. And we work hard for bringing more smiles everywhere in the world. But this was probably emotionally the most, that March 11, 2011 was the most difficult day of my entrepreneurial life.
And what did you do when, 11th of March, you hear the news from Fukushima, then you are afraid of Malibu in California. What did you do personally to get back your drive, to not being too frustrated or just stop working?
I walk down in my gym and I work hard, trying to think to something else.
Clear your mind.
And clear my mind and find new energy and concentration. So that was my answer. At the end, unfortunately, I don't have a secret, but the only answer that I found in my many different companies that I founded, it's hard work. If you have a problem, a challenge, I don't have any other solution than waking up early in the morning and working hard till, for me, before dinner. I don't work after dinner. I want to relax, clear my mind, have a good sleep, and then wake up at 4:30, 5:30, and starting working. This is the only solution that I have. Unfortunately, my wife complained.
But Fede, besides that really great role, I think we can all apply for our own mental health to not work after dinner. I like that. I will start applying that. But I want to go to this partnership with Guido, because you also wrote a book and it says when friends made gelato. So especially in such a difficult situation, how important is it to have an entrepreneurial partner, friend, close? Would you have managed that alone, or would you say to really succeed as an entrepreneur, you will have so many downs and roadblocks that it's better to be in there with two or more people? How do you see that retrospective, the partnership, especially in crisis? How do you see that?
You create the best friendship during a war period. So I'm meaning in the very difficult moment. There's a way of saying now that a leader, a top manager, entrepreneur is alone. Being not alone, it's a big help.
Mm-hmm.
For being an entrepreneur, you should be optimistic, generally speaking, but you have your negative moments. It happens, of course. If you are two and you have a negative moment, maybe the other one is still optimistic and deliver you positive comments, positive ideas, a solution, or anyway, just something saying, okay, we are working hard, we will solve it. And it's a big help. The relationship with Guido, it's something very strange. Very, very strange. He's surviving after more than 20 years, always with companies 50%, 50%. So really breaking the magic rule of having 3 partners in a company, not 2, best one. Really break all the rules, but yeah, respecting the roles and respecting different responsibilities. This is crucial. I comment, for example, I comment recipe of a gelato, I comment a flavor, but I don't take any decision. We discuss. Same with my items, my responsibilities. So it's something strange. Is not a friendship. I cannot say it's my best friend. He is more than a brother.
A twin.
Yeah, maybe it's more than a brother.
The other side of the coin, maybe, because you say if it's so clear what is the responsible, maybe it's the yin and yang, and the other side of the coin, the coexistence. Fede, I want to jump to the next topic, which is the exit, and I don't care so much about the money and the valuation. I care more about the feeling, because when you look at entrepreneurs from the sideline, people always think, oh, that's so great, you got that much money and etc. But most of the people forget that us entrepreneurs, we put in our lifeblood. It's like our baby, and your baby even carried your name, and then somebody comes and buy that baby, and suddenly it's not yours. It's like an adoption. It's gone. Yeah. And you cannot run away, because you live in a country where every fucking supermarket you go has your ice cream there, and you're not in charge anymore. How difficult was it to let go?
It was not easy, but it was not so difficult because of several situations that happened by magic. So Grom, Guido and me, we were not ready to sell. We were ready to proceed in our venture. The financial situation of the company was out. We lived bad years, but mostly of the years of the company were super positive. All good. Unilever came knocking on our door, asking for a potential collaboration, and I said, guys, thank you so much. We are proud of your request, but we are not interested. Bye-bye. This was the first meeting. They came back and they insisted, saying us, okay, you have a great opportunity. You created probably the most amazing brand in the niche of the super good ice cream. Your opportunity is entering in another channel, supermarkets. And they said, okay, thank you so much. Very interesting idea. I was 2015. We had this idea in 2007, but we can think to have a potential collaboration in the distribution. So this was the start. After a couple of weeks of this second meeting, my wife told me, we are expecting a baby. It's time. In that moment, I changed my position to son to a future father. And don't forget that all my savings in that moment were in the company. I put 32,500 euros in the company, was all my money. We never distributed a dividend. Our salaries were pretty low compared to our responsibilities, lower than my same salary 10 years before as a manager. So all the money was in the company. And if you have a company, you risk whatever is your company. You can fail. You can struggle. So I discussed with Guido the opportunity of having Unilever as a minority partner. So we started a discussion with Unilever with this base of discussion, and after few weeks of due diligence, they came out with the idea of 100% or nothing, with future financial solutions for my kid that was still arriving, and the kid of my kid, and future generation. And okay, we really changed our life in few months. After 3 months, we signed the deal. And I was even luckier because I stayed in the company 4 years as a CEO. And so I lived this moment like the first half time of a Super Bowl, the break, the 4 years, and then expecting a second half time of a new Super Bowl. And the break... Sorry.
And is this the second halftime? Is that the new ice cream venture you're doing with Charles Leclerc?
I didn't expect this. This is a completely different story. Okay. But let me stay on the break.
Yeah.
You know, you have the concert. You have Janet Jackson showing off. It was magic because I had time to realize that I was leaving my baby in super nice hands, giving eternity to my dream. That was something that helped me a lot to leave my baby in a better situation. The eternity of a dream is something that you don't expect. So this was the solution. And during the halftime, the break, I had also the chance to reflect, to read books. And one particular book was regarding how to be in the second half time if you are successful financially in the first half time. So dedicating yourself to community, having an impact. So I started to reflect, how can I have an impact in my second half time? So it was super helpful. These 4 years as CEO, super interesting. I learned a lot. With fantastic colleagues. Unilever is a monster of 180,000 employees. So I learned a lot. And I'm using what I learned in the new ventures. After 4 years, I left, and I left happy, without any complaint, without problems. It was really a smooth passage. Excellent. Done.
So Florian wanted to come now to the second half time. So Florian, let's talk about the second half time.
Fede, now you are back in ice cream business with Charles Leclerc, the Formula One driver. Why are you doing this again? I mean, you were successful with the ice cream. You made a nice exit, and now you're in the same field. Tell us about it.
Yeah, after the 4 years, the plan of Guido and me was clear, and was winemaking. So we created Muramura, starting with the fruit of for ice cream, and then Muramura was transformed after 2015 in a fantastic farm with vineyards, vineyards of Barolo, Barbaresco, the winery. there is a fantastic relay with the restaurant. So this was really our second half time. Making the best wine from Piedmont, selecting distributors, selling it in the world, and creating the new Romanée Conti in Piedmont. That was a dream. So you better dream big rather than dreaming small.
Right.
It's hard work. Really, I'm super proud of the product. I'm super proud of the place. It's fantastic. So I really invite you guys to visit us, having a dinner, sleeping there, and drinking some good wines. So that was the plan. Pretty clear. Some project as a give back, a couple of projects as a give back, and absolutely the idea of not going back in the world of ice cream.
Yeah.
Zero opportunity. The possibility to go back in the same field, zero. It was clear. If you start from scratch, and after 12 years, you sell to Unilever almost 100 stores, they were 98 in 15 countries with 1,000 employees, you're done. You did everything.
Yeah.
You've proven it.
Absolutely.
And but again, opportunities are coming, and it's true that if you had a little success, new opportunities are coming and coming, much more than if you don't have. So I was having a lunch with Charles Leclerc, a famous pilot of Formula One. That time was the first year of Charles in Formula One. So he was running for Alfa Romeo, still not Ferrari. And a friend in Cannes told me, this guy is interesting. Let's meet him because he's a clever guy. And I said, okay, let's do it. We had this meeting. The rule of the meeting was clear. Let's exchange information in transparency. I'm not interested in Formula One. I find it boring. You are passionate about gelato, but you don't know practically anything about ice cream. So let's do it. We met, and I met really a nice guy, considering the age. He was 21, super well educated. So it was clear that behind him there was a nice family. And it was strange, big 25 years of difference. Usually you don't have a personal feeling. But the maturity of Charles is crazy because he's traveling all over the world since he was like 11, 12. Anyway, after a few lunch and dinners, Charles asked me, okay, Fede, I'm super passionate about gelato. It's my passion since ever. I want to open a store in Monaco, his own city. And I say, can you help me? Yes, of course, Charles, I can help you. It would be not difficult. Recipes, good gelato. We select a good employee, and you select a location, and they help you to sort out the lease. Charles, it would be difficult financially. It will be a super nice experience, but probably you will lose money. And it's not such a big event for you. You are a Formula One driver. You need something with more impact. And so Charles started to think and said, yes, I agree. On the way back, I called in and said, Charles, I have an idea. A few years ago, in 2018, I was working with Guido to create a gelato for sporty people, specifically with the Milan Football Club and Juventus. We didn't finalize the project for several reasons, but the idea was making an excellent gelato for professionals.
Low calorie.
Not only at that time was high protein, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we met and Charles said, oh, this is a fantastic idea. Let's do it together. And I said, no, Charles, I'm not, it's my present for you. You do it. I don't want to come back. But he insisted and I said, okay, let's try to think about it. But I need to speak with Guido. So on the way back, we were in Monaco. On the way back to Italy, I was speaking with Guido. While I was explaining to Guido the project, I was convincing myself. So it was such an interesting project that putting together the Grom twins as you said before, with just that and creating something. Also an opportunity of learning something different and living a different situation. So we arrived, we created the company. It was long because, of course, with all the difficulties of a contract with Ferrari. And we created the company, we selected the employees, and we did the first meeting. And the first question of the marketing director was, what is your idea of ice cream? What is your behavior with ice cream? And what do you think about ice cream? Charles said, ice cream is the best of the best that I can eat. I'm crazy about it. But every time I eat an ice cream, a cup of ice cream, a cone, I have this sense of guiltiness because I have my diet, I have to respect my contracts, Ferrari, and so on. And they said, whoa, stop it. The decision of making gelato for people, sporty, professional people, is wrong. It's too little. But making gelato for people having the sense of guiltiness when they have a dessert, when they have a glass of wine more, it's full of people with this. So we discussed the first meeting how to make a gelato ice cream, canceling the guilty sensation. And the final result was, okay, let's respect the role of ice cream. That should be good, should be a pleasure. And there are many producers, they forget it. Many products, not only in ice cream, but yogurt, that are supposed to be a supplement of protein or other products, are crap. They are not good. Ice cream should be a moment of pleasure, but with lower calories possible. This was the bet. We didn't know how to do it. We didn't know if it was possible. Guido naturally was in charge of the product. I was in charge of the commercial side and the strategy.
So back in the game, same roles, one more player.
Same roles, but with two more partners.
Yeah.
Charles, and Charles told me, okay, I need to involve Nicola Todd because he's my manager since ever, a guy with great international experience. And I said, okay, let's do it. Let's do it 50%, 50%. You and Nico 50%, me and Guido 50%. So always the same rule. But we said, okay, we are entrepreneurs. For entrepreneurs, no testimonial, no brand ambassador. We work all together. Right. So, Charles, your role is communication. You need to be involved in the product and so on. Nicola in charge of the international contact and networking. And so it started, and it's been like 3 weeks that we launched the project. Crazy. It was really a crazy success. From 0 to 350,000 followers on Instagram. Practically all the major supermarket chain in Italy, they are following us. We ran out of the product, bought for 3 weeks in 2 days in the supermarket. So shelves empty. And we are starting soon in France. So the idea is Italy and France the first year, and then international growth in the future.
Okay.
So
and Fede, you're back in the driver's seat. You run it, so you're not just an investor. You're back in running it. You're back in the game. You're running that vehicle.
Yeah, I'm. We had a similar discussion in the past. I'm not able to invest without participating in the business.
Yes.
So I trust too much myself, and this is a problem, of course. So I want to put my nose in all the business I invest.
I understand.
In a specific case, I really run the business, and also other cases. I have other companies, and like the winery, like another company. I'm doing an edutech. So selling courses online, I'm involved in all the businesses, absolutely.
But we're gonna watch you closely because that's really something very brave, as you said. There's very few people who have done it twice in the same category. There's a lot of successful entrepreneurs who switched to another one, etc. But building a successful company, as you did with GROM, exiting, you said you have done it, going back and doing it again, because the pressure is now higher, the expectations higher from yourself, from the others. So we will watch closely. We have two more questions, Fede, before we at the end. One is about the current environment, about the current situation. When you look at your microcosmos and in the macro, the world, the environment, the situations out there, but also your company, your venture, if you really go to sleep after your dinner, after a glass of wine, without working, is there anything currently what keeps you up at night? What keeps you worried? What keeps you tense? Also now as a father, as you shared when you sold Unilever, you became a father, so you have a family. What is currently concerning you?
It's a strange situation, no? At university, we learned that black swan are arriving rarely, and you don't expect them, and you need to adapt to react to the black swan. So COVID was a black swan, and it was crazy. Nobody knowing what to do, and then a war, and then another war. So it's really the black swan arriving every 10, 20 years, arriving every year. So the world is really changing at the pace that was not expected. AI is the biggest social change that is arriving. People do not understand, but it will be much worse than a war. Mm-hmm. Even if it is in Europe. We have a perception of the wars that we have behind us that is our local perception. If you talk with an Asian person, an Asian entrepreneur, speaking about the war in Ukraine, and they say, yeah, it's something normal. There are several wars here. The same in Africa. So it's unfortunately it's part of the crazy world. Mm-hmm. And I'm scared. I am scared. There are moments that I'm more scared for a potential future increase of the war situation. I wasn't so scared about COVID at all. I lived the moment in quiet and peace. But yeah, the actual situation is more scary. I don't, frankly speaking, I don't think to these big changes at night. I'm not sleeping for my little few stupid things that are not working. Mm-hmm. That's the reality. Sometimes I'm thinking where to live in a safe place with my family in case of a bigger disaster. But at the end, I do not react. I'm just watching the news, trying to understand, but it's very difficult. I don't have enough information to interpret it differently what I've heard in the news. I try to read news from all different sort of sources. I learned from friends that in the past they were militaries. And they did a couple of wars in the past, like in Kuwait. That the news that we are reading in Europe are a partial side of the truth. Yeah. So I try to speak with people understanding better the situation. With the war in Ukraine, I spoke with the Russian people privately. Not on phone, with Ukrainian people for better understanding. Still, I do not understand the war. It's something crazy. I cannot say anything more because I'm in your same situation. I don't have more information. I'm remaining optimistic because an entrepreneur should be optimistic.
Absolutely, and this is a good keyword because for our last question, Fede, I would like to ask you, This optimism, how would you help a young entrepreneur in doubt and struggle to overcome that? What is a good tool set to get back to drive and gain optimism?
I would say him to create his own circle of trust for sharing all the dots, listening everybody, interpreting what they are saying, for then taking a decision by himself, analyzing data, working hard on data. And when you don't have enough data, deciding with emotions, feeling himself. The reality is that innovation, for example, they are not coming from data. They are coming from your sense of future and innovation. So I don't believe in data when you need to innovate. I don't believe in marketing research when you have to innovate, but I believe in data analysis when you need to take a decision on the P&L. So having complexity as we have today needs having knowledge in different sectors. So an entrepreneur should know a little of everything. So that's something that I'm trying to explain with another company that I mentioned you before that I created with a friend a few years ago. And that is a company doing edutech, so selling courses online, teaching the entrepreneurial spirit and mentality is our main driver. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you should know a little about finance, a little about product, a little about innovation, IT, a little. You cannot be an expert. And then the crucial part of an entrepreneur is selecting people that are better than you in each single area. Then it's not a democracy, you take a decision. Unfortunately, you listen everybody and you take a decision.
This is a great end, I think, Fede. And I want to say, because it was really great how you explained the black swans and that they come more and more. But you're definitely a white swan out there, Fede, as a person, as a friend, as an entrepreneur, as a mentor to a lot of us out there. And I really found that very brave what you're doing right now, because you could invest in others, you could change the industry, but going back into the core where you build your reputation, your fortune, your name, and say, I'm going to do that again. And the world didn't become easier, as you pointed out. The competition didn't become weaker. You have 2 friends now cheering on the sideline and 318,000 others on social media. I'm sure, because I know you, that it will be a success. You don't need our energy, but you need our love. So we send you that. It will be awesome, and we're gonna have a podcast in 2 years or 3 years from now when we talk about the next crazy stories and exits. Thank you for taking the time, Fede. It was great. And all the best to Torino.
Thank you.
The black swans and the big smiling white swan, Fede. What an energy. The Italians always win with their accent and attitude, Florian.
Yeah. The poster boy of ice cream.
The poster boy of ice cream. And what I definitely, it's not a promise out there. And when my wife listens, maybe she listens, I think I'm going to take that over. No work after dinner.
There you go. She will take that over for you.
She will take that over. But he also made quite clear that the boss in Federico Grom's house is his wife. So greetings to the wife. So let's start from, because there's a lot of things to recap. What's on your note?
So first of all, and I think everybody can feel it or could feel it listening to Fede Grom, is passion and energy.
Passion and energy. Yeah.
It's a simple mission, he said, but passion and energy, you have to have this. Fixing the mission and making the best gelato in the world, that was the goal.
I really think that I need to stick a little bit with that because that sounds so simple. But when you disrupt something, and don't stand in front of an industry and say, there's so many ice creams out there, there's so many ketchups out there, there's so many soy sauce out there. There is a room for doing it better. And to put yourself out there and say, we're going to make the best ice cream no matter what, and with passion and energy to do that. And you saw, I mean, he did it, and I think he's going to do it again now. But a very strong learning.
At the end, Mario, just a side note, because it just came to my mind while you were talking, and we talked about blue and red oceans recently, and actually he jumped into this red ocean and made it blue with his first brand that then was taken over from Unilever, and I can imagine that his new ice cream venture will be the same.
They're doing it again. Then he said, flavor first. That's a nuance of that, making the best ice cream, but it's really something. He didn't talk about food cost. He really said flavor first. And for me, to see the detour of having a farm is incredible. He says the fruits out there, they need to look good from colors and shape, but they don't need to taste good. And we needed the best fruit, but he said we didn't need the best fruit for eating them. We needed the best fruit for ice cream, and the best fruit for an ice cream is not the best fruit for eating. And the only way to do that is to do it by yourself. I mean, that's a sense of, how should I say, like seriousness on that flavor first. It's not just saying, let's buy the best apple or let's buy the best lemon. No. There's no best lemon out there. Let's grow them. That's a determination.
Absolutely.
Flavor first.
And also that he said total trust and hard work. This is essential. You really have to believe in what you're doing, and then you have to stand up early, and you have to do that. And if nobody is doing it yet, then you are the first to do it. And
I like that too. If nobody's doing it, then you're the first. And I also, like in a lot of other interviews, it always helps if you start early in your career to be an entrepreneur, because he said, I simply had nothing to lose. I had nothing to lose. And so he said, it's easy to do if you have nothing to lose. I like that too.
Then he said, and it's actually linked to that, determination is part of the game as an entrepreneur. You have to be determined. You have to, as I said already, you have to wake up early. You have to work hard. Don't work after dinner. You mentioned
don't work after dinner, but wake up early. And also he said that as an advice to all of us entrepreneurs and leaders out there, if there's an issue, a roadblock, a struggle, you just have to work harder. I think that was his core belief. Work harder, but also I think that's a good burnout rule. Work harder, wake up earlier, but don't work after dinner. Then when we talked about the partnership, I think it was it's really, there's something in the partnership between Guido and him, and he couldn't really find the right words to describe. He said, it's not just my best friend, it's not my brother, it's something different. And I think then when he described it, it was more clear that it's really about they are yin and yang. Like he's good in certain things and Guido is good in other things, and they respect each other. And that's what he said. I give my opinion, obviously, because I have 50% of that company, but he will make the call, and the other way around. Respect in that, find your yin out there.
We heard that from him. We heard that also from others, that being not alone is actually a help and a support. Listen to others and take help from others as well. That's also what he said when we asked him about his tool set for entrepreneurs in doubt and struggle. Then he said, create your circle of trust. Really have people around you that you are able to listen to. And then he said, decide with emotion if data doesn't help.
Yes, that was also clear. Create your circle of trust, listen to that circle of trust, then take your decision alone. He also said on the very end, he said entrepreneurship is not democracy. You need to listen to everybody, but then you need to make a decision. It was pretty clear, strong quote, entrepreneurship is not a democracy. And rely on data. And if you don't have data, then follow your gut. That's what he said.
He said data is for the P&L and emotion is for innovation.
Yeah.
And I think there's a truth.
And I think that was also clear that he said to disrupt and to create something new, you need to follow your gut. Once it's complex and you have, and he talked about the complexity out there currently, then you follow the data. I mean, incredible stories, incredible memories also for him. I mean, we didn't now in the summary talk about the Tokyo thing, but when he described the smile of that girl, and he said, we understood that's what we're out there, to have an ice cream, to create that smiles. And he was very honest about sharing. He said, I'm not proud that I only thought about myself when I heard about the earthquake, but it could have destroyed my existence. And I was scared that he shared that. He said he remembered the specific date. I mean, then obviously this was a long time ago. And he says, I remember the exact date and how I felt because that I was really scared.
Yeah. Last thing I actually put down is his quote where he said, entrepreneurs should know a little bit about everything and select people that are better than you to be in the special fields.
I think that's a great and a lot of learnings in there.
Yeah.
And we cheer him up from the sideline. Guys, watch that brand. Follow Fede. 2 things. Buy his wine, Mura Mura. He will be happy.
Yeah.
And follow his new ice cream ranches. I think we're going to see another exit soon to Unilever, one of the others. That was a great one. Thank you, Florian. It was fun.
Thank you, Mario.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow. We hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as we did. But sharing is not just caring. It is also empowering. So, recommend this podcast to fellow entrepreneurs who might need a dose of inspiration. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss out on future episodes. Thank you for being part of the community from Doubt to Drive Entrepreneurs Only. Mario and Florian are already gearing up for the next episode. Until then, stay tuned, stay driven, and we'll be back next week.